here we are. I can also like change the size of our window
Awesome.
stuff. So I can actually also invite other people. So here we are. Cool. We're live. We're using a different software today. So a little bit different. We're using BeLive.tv because Zoom was not cooperating. But we got to figure it out.
This is awesome. I've never used BeLive before, so this is cool. I think I may. Just give me a sec, friends.
I like BeLive better than Zoom for Facebook Live. It's just the Zoom is so convenient with the recordings and stuff. BeLive doesn't have recordings, which is fine. Just download them from the Facebooks. Cool. So as you get in here, let me get some invites out there. As you get in here, let us know if you are in the vault and you are typically on the call, on the Zoom call. Just shoot me a message, and what I'll do is I'll send you a link to join us here on BeLive. We do the same thing.
If you're watching, let us know where you're tuning in from.
Let me tag some people that I know want to be here.
I see Jody, I think. Yep, there, Jody. What's up, Jody?
Let us know. You know what? Let me change this real quick. Boom. Let us know you're here. Let us know you're here. Drop a comment. Tell us where you're at. Geographically, you want to tell us about your business? You do that too.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear about that. A lot of new people in this group. A lot of people waiting to get approved, which we're going to do next week. We're going to launch this. We're going to launch this group. We're going to do a big open and close cart, value stack, a bunch of stuff. Maybe we'll throw in some adjusting stuff in there too. I don't know. But for those of you that are new, basically, if you've been let in the last week or two, I've looked at your stuff. I think you're a good fit. If you haven't been let in, you can't see this anyway. So if you see this replay, it's just because we're waiting until we can sell you stuff, to be honest. But for those of you that consistently contribute, drop a comment. Let us know you're here. We do this 3 times a week. Monday, it's all about messaging and how you communicate with your prospects, your clients. Wednesday, it's all about storytelling. It's all about social proof. It's all about how to take your client wins and turn it into marketing, make sales easier, identify more of your ideal clients, keep people for longer, and serve people at a higher level. And on Fridays, we just talk about business development, mostly client acquisition, some paid advertising, some organic, some abstract strategies that people can use. Used to be Facebook Friday, but people are getting so myopic and like they have people right next door to them that want to give them money, and they're over here like running Facebook ads, banging their head up against the wall. So, but we do this hoping that 1, we can serve you, put a lot of goodwill out there, a lot of value, and 2, that you reciprocate by coming into this group and sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and your insight, so we can create this collective momentum.
Yep.
And Wednesdays, we'll talk about Wednesdays because it's Wednesday. We have Justin Demers, has won multiple Emmys. I tell everybody that because it's really cool. But he's just so gifted with video storytelling, the psychology of not just serving your clients, but using their feedback and their stories to attract more like-minded clients. And it just are you still doing your podcast in service of others?
It's launching. It's going to be called the 5-Star Service Provider. So
Got it.
We're bringing on 5-star service provider. So if that's you, shoot me a message. And the idea is we want to talk about what it takes to actually be in service of your clients, to actually get them results, not just take their money, but get paid, but actually deliver what they're expecting, and hopefully more, because there's a lot of people out there that are willing to be hired and not live up to the expectation. And so this podcast is all about how you actually are in service of your clients to grow your business.
So Justin has this skill that is not like most internet marketers and advertisers. No, not throwing stones at anybody, but the Sam Ovens, the Dan Henry, the people that are really, really good at advertising, the people that could like sell you anything in the room. Justin has a superpower, and I'm sorry to say it, but he can really only help people that are actually really good at what they do. But if you are actually really good at what you do, Justin and his wife Michelle can actually provide you more value than any internet marketer on the freaking planet. So, and a lot of that comes through creating a culture around your clients and their wins and the people that you serve. And that's what we're going to talk about today, right? We're going to talk about the 5-star service providers and how they can create a culture and just create. It's perfect because right now I'm teaching retention, referrals, raving fans live. And this is what it's all about, right? It's just getting referrals, keeping people forever because your culture is world-class.
I see Daryl on here. What's up, Daryl? Tim. It's awesome seeing everyone. Yeah. So this kind of originated from I'm podcast listener, and someone has said, hey, you should check out this podcast. And I checked out the podcast, and the host within, I don't know, they do the typical, like, here's what you're going to learn during this episode, roll the intro. And usually then people like dive into the conversation. Well, this host was like, here's what you're going to learn in this episode. Here's the intro. Before I get to this episode, let me just share a listener shout out where this person literally just reads one of their podcast reviews and responds to it. And usually directs it into some sort of like, hey, if you want to be like this person, check out this program, or if you want to see these results, go to this website or check out this opt-in. And it just kind of set this thing off of me, this concept that we talk about all the time. And it was just such a good example of like creating a culture of celebrating your clients in your business. And so you would say, well, this person is just like reading a review to kind of boast about how good they are. And the reality is, like subconsciously, that's what's happening. But at the main thing that's happening is this person is calling out a listener, making that person be heard and seen and sharing their story. Because obviously the podcast host is choosing the ones to read, and the one that they're reading are like really powerful stories of transformation. And so it just kind of just set this whole thought in my brain recently of just like creating this culture of celebrating your client wins at every step. And it, like a conversation we had actually with a network member a couple months ago was like, well, I just hired someone to get some testimonials for me and they're done. So now I've got, 10 testimonials. The reality is like, you have to treat your social proof, your client stories, their wins as ongoing. This isn't a project that you check off, right? Like, okay, I've got testimonials, I'm done. What we're going to be talking about inside, the 5-star show and in our program is this concept of like building a culture in your business of celebrating your clients. Because if you do that, you no longer have to market, right? That's what you were talking about at the beginning, right? You no longer have to sell promises. Most people in your industry right now are selling promises. This may work. If you do the work, blah, 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 this may work. Very few people are actually selling results. And even more than that, very few people are selling transformations. And the biggest thing, the unfair advantage you have right now is there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines who want what you have to offer. They're on your email list. They've watched your webinar. They're people you've talked to, been on sales calls with. They want what you have to offer. They just don't know that it will help someone like them. And so the whole point of this concept of like being a culture of celebrating wins is it gives you an opportunity to be sharing these transformative stories of where people were and where people are now. And that's like a missing part in a lot of people's marketing game plans and marketing strategy. And so if you create this culture, right, this idea of I'm going to celebrate my client wins, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how quick into the program, no matter how long they've been a client, like you be strategic about it. But the reality is your clients expect it. They expect to be celebrated. And then therefore it's no longer an ask. Hey, can I get a testimonial from you? Or can I get, can you go post a review? Like that's the classic thing that we get all the time from people we hire is like, hey, can you go, I'm going to use this reputation management software. I'm going to go send this faceless email. It's going to end up in this client's inbox. And then they're going to leave me a review on Google and I'm going to get more clients. And like, that's not setting a culture of sharing wins. That's like trying to turn your clients into a sales vehicle for your business. If you create this culture, so when someone is onboarded, and we've talked about this in, I think, every single Social Proof Wednesday, right? Like the concept of, as you onboard a client, you are literally like talking about how you're going to help them get results and how their results are going to inspire others who need to see it. And so if you onboard them and then you're doing these conversation loops and you're sharing their wins throughout the progress, you're not just waiting for the big result, you're sharing the micro wins. It's no longer an ask. People actually look forward to it. They actually want to share their wins. And when that happens, your marketing changes. And so here's what we're doing right now. Like, we have an offer that's not in the business space at all. We're currently, it's in the parent space. We're parents. We have 2 kids. There's something near and dear to our hearts. And so we're launching this thing, and we're excited about it. But literally every single conversation, from the challenge that we're doing, to the sales page, to the webinar, to the actual product that we're creating, to the onboarding, it's literally like, how do we either capture social proof or embed social proof? How do we capture stories or share stories at every single potential opportunity? So it's at the forefront of our mind, is literally, as we're building the program and as we're building the webinar and as we're building the 5-day challenge, it's literally like, how do we stack stories into every single step? And it's as simple for us as, right now we're in the midst of like a 5-day challenge. We had, I don't know, like 1,150 parents sign up in a short amount of time, like 5 or 7 days or something like that. And so they're all going through this challenge now. And we do day 1. Well, what do we start day 2 with? The wins from day 1. We do day 3. Well, what do we start the wins with? The wins from day 2. And start the day with is the wins from day 2. And so we're literally just building momentum, because we want this company to be a company that has a culture of celebrating parents, celebrating their wins, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter if we would consider it a massive win or if we would consider it a small win. Like, these parents are being super vulnerable. They're sharing their wins, they're sharing their struggles, and we want to be celebrating that at every step. And so if you're watching this, I see like, I don't know, a handful, 7 or 8 people hopping in. Think about how you can put this into practice in your business. Do you have a podcast? Do you have an email list? Do you do Facebook Lives? Do you do challenges? Do you do email marketing? Like, however you sell what you do, how can you embed stories at every single step? And then, as part of that, in your client delivery and fulfillment, how can you be capturing stories at every single step? And so we've done, I don't know how many of these Social Proof Wednesdays now, 7 or 8 of them. There's literally a dozen ideas baked into all these Social Proof Wednesdays. Go back and watch them. They will make you money, but more importantly, it will make it significantly easier for capturing client stories. That's really what I wanted to talk about today, is this concept of just like this podcast, set this thing in motion. And it's just so important to just be a company that celebrates your clients, that markets results and transformations and not promises. And it literally puts you on a different sphere.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna echo. Go back and watch these Social Proof Wednesdays, because we're gonna relaunch the vault, and what's gonna happen is a whole bunch of these. Some of them I'm gonna leave up. Some of them will always be available publicly because they're just too valuable to not. But just the nature of Facebook, you got to scroll forever to find them. So they're going to be, we're going to take all these Social Proof Wednesdays, we're going to pop them into the vault in sequential order, because they do kind of build on each other. But right now, just go back and watch, take notes, and most importantly, implement, and then share with us, share with Justin at least what you're implementing, because if you already have attention, like awareness of any kind of audience, it's definitely one of the most profitable things you can do. My question is, and we've addressed this before, I think the hang up is it seems almost overwhelming to capture. We've talked about it too, to capture social proof at every step.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
so we have the big 3 that we talk about with our clients. And so it's really simple: quick win, big win, surprising win. Just focus on those three things. So the quick win is designed to get the people who are on the fence, right? The people who want what you have to offer, but they think that result is too far ahead of them, right? It's going to take me too long. It's not worth it. Or it's going to take me, I just don't have the time to see the results that I want. And so the quick win is designed to show them that, like, hey, on the other side, once you take that jump, there are results waiting for you. And more importantly, that big thing that you want, right? You want to become ripped, or you want to lose weight, or you want to have $1 million business. Like, that takes time. But what doesn't take time is these losing 5 pounds or being able to jog for 30 minutes without losing your breath, or your first client. So that's the quick win. And those are really good as far as the follow-up. So, hey, we just talked, and I think we did a social proof Wednesday on the concept of like the 9-word email. Hey, are you still interested in, losing 10 pounds? Right? That's the classic headline. And the body is like, hey, Jim, I know we spoke and you were interested in losing 10 pounds. I just wanted to share Maria's story because she just hopped into the Lose 10 Pounds in 5 Days program, and she did it in 5 days. And I think this would be really inspiring you to see that, like, such in a short amount of time, you can have such quick progress, right? So that's the quick win. The big win is if I keep working with this person, I'm going to see this type of result. The problem is that takes time to see those big wins, right? To be $1 million client, or to have a fully booked calendar, or to be ripped, like, that takes months. And so for a lot of people, that's like aspirational. The challenge is most people market that, and then therefore people who are like getting new, or who are new into the client, into the business, or don't have like massive wins, feel like, oh, their client wins aren't big enough to share. The reality is the big win is often a good retention strategy. And so that's a good way to get people in your program to actually keep making progress towards that big win. It's not necessarily a good selling strategy. The quick win is, because the quick win shows, hey, if I give this person this much money, I'm going to see this result in 2 weeks or 5 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it is. And then we like to say the surprising win, because every program or every service, there's the like surface, like, hey, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or, hey, I'm going to have my kitchen remodeled. And then there's the thing behind the thing, right? Which is, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, but really I'm going to be able to wear a white shirt and be comfortable in it. Or I'm going to be able to chase my kids around Disneyland and not lose my breath. That's the win within the win, right? The thing behind the thing. Or if it's the kitchen renovation, it's my kitchen is renovated, but really it means I can now have guests over and not be ashamed. I can have family dinners and create great memories. That's the thing behind the thing. There's also the surprising win, which is, now that I've done my kitchen and I'm having my friends and family over, I'm realizing that I actually love to entertain. I didn't know it before because, we had a crappy kitchen, but I actually really love inviting neighbors over. And now I've gotten to know all my neighbors and we have a great relationship. Or I lost 10 pounds so that I can go to Disneyland with my kids. But I just realized I love going on roller coasters. Like, I've never been a roller coaster person before because I just thought I didn't like them. But really, it was just because it was just uncomfortable. And what's interesting is, for a lot of people that you're marketing to, the surprising win is actually what a lot of people are feeling, but they're not communicating. And so there's a lot of people out there who are thinking like, I wonder if I would like to entertain and host dinner parties. I see it on TV. It looks fun. And like, that's the potentially the main reason why they would actually hire you to renovate their kitchen. And so we just think quick win, easy to track, big win, retention, surprising win, usually like the thing behind the thing is like the actual reason why someone would hire you. That's all you have to track. Yes, you can track every single stage and, the entire progress, and it makes for a significantly more compelling testimonial and story. But at the end of the day, if you're a service provider, you don't have a team, or you have a small team, it's just too much. So if you just focus on those 3 things, those you can track.
That's awesome. Quick win to push people over for the sale, big win, great retention strategy, and the surprising win. Excellent. So talk about culture, right? Culture. I think of, and tell me if this is on the, and this is just fresh in my brain. Build-A-Bear. You're familiar with Build-A-Bear?
We were just there this weekend. Literally, our two kiddos and their cousins. There was like 7 of them building a bear.
Did they celebrate the? I don't know if they still do it. It used to be that when they build a bear, the whole store celebrates and everybody in the mall is looking like, what the hell's going on over there?
Well, there's like a little kiosk, but they didn't celebrate. They did the little birth certificates and all that whole process of like, this is your baby now.
That's awesome. That's a. I always think of that as because I remember walking by Build-A-Bear. The only reason I even think about Build-A-Bear because I don't have kids. I never built a bear, is because I walked by one time and like this whole store was just exploding with celebration because somebody just built a bear.
Yeah.
And
well, even Apple does it. When they release a new phone, you're the first in line. They literally cheer you in, like it's at their store. Like it's, I mean, that's a little bit different from a context of like, it's not like from the story perspective, but it makes people feel good. Like think about it from a, hey, I just bought this product, this bear, and my money, yeah, it went to this like, product, but my time was valued. Like they valued me being there. And I think a lot of like going back to your R3 program, it's like very few people, your competitors, like let's make this specific. Your competitors are likely not celebrating their clients. It is a transaction. They get paid, they deliver a service. At this day and age, it's not enough. So if you're saying to yourself right now, you're like, I deliver a better experience. I actually listen to my clients. I actually get them results. I actually look after their best interests. I actually do the things that I am paid to do. And actually, I do more. You're like, I do all these things, but how are my competitors still getting clients that would actually be better served if they hired me? And the reality is, all these things that you are doing, nobody knows. They just don't.
What's the because I in the R3 class I have a system for this, and it's detailed, it's complicated, right? But let's say we want to celebrate wins. I'm interested on your take, and if you can make it as simple and palatable as the quick win, big win, surprising win. Celebrate. What do you celebrate? So let's use an example again. Details aren't the concept of super intimate. So let's say a paid client group, not so intimate, which would be just like a Facebook group, like a public Facebook group, right? And then like just public, like an ad. What wins do you celebrate, or do you have a method of saying, hey, look, this is appropriate for this small, tiny private group, or this is appropriate to print on a newspaper and send it out? Like both psychologically, and I have phases where I think it's appropriate, but for you, just for like quick back of the hand, when is it appropriate to like drop into a public group and say, hey, congratulations to my private client? And when is it more appropriate to drop into the private group and say, hey, you guys all know Justin, he's crushing it with this thing. Do you have a like a quick algorithm or something that you use just to determine like what should be shared where, and what should be celebrated in what context, and what ecosystem, and what environment?
Yeah. So I always approach it as a story of inspiration. So like our celebrating clients is not to generate sales. It will generate sales, but that's not like the ulterior motive. The ulterior motive is simply, we want to inspire others to take the steps that they need to take to get the results that they want to get. And so I would look at it and say, systematically, the story that you're going to share is going to help people one step behind them. And so if you work backwards, you literally can just map out the stories you need to go from a free Facebook group. What's the next step that someone's going to take? Are they going to opt into your email list? Are they going to watch your webinar? Are they going to sign up for your 5-day challenge? Whatever it is. What are the stories you need to get them there? Once they've watched the webinar, they signed up for your 5-day challenge, they've consumed your welcome email sequence, whatever it is, what's the next step for them to take? And so you're basically just looking at the steps from there. The reality is, so we have a done for you client that we're working with right now, and they have 3 tiers to their program, right? And so there's one that's, let's just say like 10K, one that's 30K, and one that's $100,000, right? That's the lifetime value of each client there. the stories from the people in the middle are going to inspire the stories from the 10,000. So the stories have people at the $50,000 range are going to inspire people at the $10,000 range to keep going and get to that step. The stories at the $100,000 range are going to inspire people at the $50,000 range to keep going and take that next step. The reality, though, is even if you have a conversation, and we just went through this week because we're literally creating the assets for this client of ours. And so they had a conversation that was absolutely incredible. And notice I didn't say interview because we despise interviews. People do not like being interviewed. So the whole concept of an exit interview or a client interview or success interview is just like, do not call it an interview. So they had a great conversation. And this was someone in the actual like $100,000 tier, but they were talking about their experience in the middle tier, which is then going to be used to people in the lower tier. Mm-hmm. And so we're very strategic about the prompts and questions that are asked. It's not the same 5 questions you Google when how to ask a testimonial and StoryBrand pops up and you're like, hey, this tells me how to ask for testimonial questions, or, you know, all these websites that talk about social proof, and they're the same 8 questions you ask every single client. If you ask every single client the same 8 questions, you get the same 8 answers. And a lot of them are just do it, sign up for this program, which literally does absolutely nothing. And so the questions you're going to ask relate to the story you want to tell and the objection and beliefs needed to get someone to take that next step. And so the questions that we were asking, or that our client was asking this person, were about like the value and the transformation of the middle tiered program to get people from the lower tier program into it. And so it becomes very easy to know where to share things when you literally just map out your sales process and you just say step A, step B, step C, step D. What are the stories that I need to move people through the action, or to move people through each step?
Awesome. That goes right.
The one thing I will say is the reality is, if you have conversations, if you treat it like a conversation, if you practice active listening, we always say it's a gift to be heard. It's a gift to like actually, like, it's a gift you give your clients when you actually listen to them. So if you have a conversation and it's to capture their story, it's not a go fill out this form or let's, you know, hop on a Zoom call for an interview or any of that stuff that for some reason is like popular now that is just gross. You get responses, you get answers, you get assets at the end of the day that literally just fill your entire sales process very quickly, because you have these longer form conversations. Let's say it's an hour or 30 minutes. You have these little tiny sections in it, 30 seconds here, 45 seconds here, 1 minute there, 2 minutes there, that when you separate it and you say, like, here are the objections that occurred each step. Here's the belief needed for someone to go from A to Z, beliefs needed. Now all of a sudden you just start plugging them in, and you're just proactively breaking objections and simultaneously building the belief that someone needs to hire you.
Awesome. And I'm going to point out, because we've talked about this before, and it might sound redundant, but it may not, because it may not, like, you really got to realize this to pick up on the pattern. You said map out your sales process and the journey, right? So when somebody comes to us in any of our programs, says, hey, I need help, we say, cool, where's the limit to scale? And the first step is always map out that journey. And so anybody listening, one, I think the way you put it in the context of story social proof, I went and shared it. I made a video about it and shared it, and it was a very, very popular video. But if you don't know, like, if you're listening right now, I'm trying to give you homework right now. If you actually don't know what that journey is, every time you talk to Justin, like, you're not going to get the same advantage. You're not going to get the same lift if you cannot, because we're all about strategy, right? You're all about strategically putting the stories in the right place. The velocity method, we're all about removing the limit to scale. And anything we do, I would implore you all to just sit down and actually map out, okay, first they do this, not they become a client and then they buy more stuff. It's like, okay, they see this ad, right? And then they hit this landing page, and then we want them to opt in. If they opt in, they go here. If they don't opt in, they see that. Like, really map that out. We used Dan used Funalytics. Mm-hmm. but really map that out. And it really just gives you, it helps you use these tools and these resources, because you can really start figuring out where to put these stories, where to optimize, where to focus. So
we just Michelle and I just got GERU. I think it's meant to be like guru, but it's like Funnelytics. But the thing I liked about it was you can actually input data and it'll spit out the results. So if you're like, your cost per lead is this, your conversion rate is this, the number of people that opt in that become blah blah blah, it's pretty awesome.
I'm actually I just copied and pasted that because I just looked at the landing page. But that you need that, right? Like I operate okay. Me individually operate okay without it, because I just say stuff and people buy stuff. That's not scalable. And when it breaks, there's no way to reverse engineer and figure out where it breaks. So, excuse me, if you're like me, and you've done pretty good just talking about stuff and selling stuff, I would still implore you to sit down. We had to do it because you did some of this for us. And now in order to strategically place these assets, we have to map it out. So
I'm going to just share one thing really quick.
Yeah.
I'm literally so go to the Guru page right now. I just shared a link.
Yep.
If you're watching. The very, whatever, 1/3 of it says, you'll love Guru, but don't just take our word for it. Here's what some of our customers had to say about our software. There we go. We're going to play a little game. So if you're watching, in the comments, when you read the saying, you'll love it, but don't just take our word for it, what do you feel like? What comes to mind?
Oh, there it is. There it is. Found it.
What was that? I just heard some dinging.
Oh, I just brought your camera back on and it did a countdown.
I was like, what's going on? Okay, so really quickly, the concept of don't just take our word for it. So a lot of people actually use, Sydney says it's a great program. Many say so. I think it would behoove them to literally remove, but don't take our word from it. Don't just take our word. The concept of the frame. So we talked about this on one of the earlier Social Proof Wednesdays, right? The idea of like, you have this social proof and above it, you have an opportunity to guide reader to pay attention to the things you want them to pay attention to. And so the words you use to describe your social proof are just as important, and I would actually say more important in a lot of cases than the social proof itself, because you are basically pointing out, this is what you should pay attention to. And so I think it would behoove this company to literally just say, you'll love Guru, and here's what some of our customers had to say about our software, right? You're removing the don't take our word from it, because as soon as you plant that seed, what else can't we take your word?
Yep.
The thing I will say is, this is all framed in like, you'll love Guru, but don't just take our word for it. Here's what our customer had to say about our software. Nobody gives a shit about your software. They care about what your software is going to do for their lives, for their businesses. And it's such a simple thing to think about. Like, what are you actually drawing attention to? The product or the result that your product actually helps your clients achieve?
Yep.
The service or the service your clients does, like the thing that hiring you for your service actually does for your clients' lives. So that's the one thing. The other thing I will say, and this is such a small thing, it took them no time, and maybe they did this intentionally and maybe they didn't, but when you scroll, so in the chat, when you scroll through those wall of Facebook screenshots, what's the very first thing that comes, like, immediately stands out? Just scroll through it quickly.
Let me pull it up here one more time on the screen.
Keep in mind, most people are scrollers. They're not reading what you're typing. So go to the beginning of that section, the social proof, and then scroll down. What stands out?
I know it stands out to me, but I want to see what people say. Because I look at different stuff. To me, it's the let's see what people say.
Subconscious here.
So if we're scrolling, boom.
What's the delay in BeLive?
It's a little bit longer than Zoom.
Okay.
It's a little bit longer.
Just visually, Jody, what visually stands out?
So Deandra, I hope I'm saying
Nailed
her name right, caught the same thing I did.
It's 100% correct. And Deandra's in our program.
One
so one heart for all of them.
Yep.
You scroll through that fast, and subconsciously you feel the love. Like people love this thing. Even if it's them, they're the ones that are literally loving these reviews, right? No one else is in a lot of cases. It's literally them. But as you scroll through it, you see the heart. And it's such a subconscious like thing that you picked up on it, Nick, right?
Yep, that's what I saw. I went through two. I said, so subconsciously I said, oh, hearts. And the second one, my logical brain said, oh, they love their own stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Most people don't have that. They just scroll through.
Yep.
And
it's only because I was looking for something. I picked up on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the hearts are what stands out.
It's the thing is like these are the little things that make a difference, right? When you're talking about stories and social proof and reviews and testimonials, and it's the little things. It's what you talked about. It's being strategic. Most people just think of it as like, oh, I need testimonials, or oh, I need reviews. Like duh, like every business needs those. But there's a strategic way, and then there's a way that is just falls flat. It's just, strokes your ego or strokes the company's ego, but does very little to move the needle. That's what we like to say. There's some social proof that will literally help you generate sales. Cool. This was a fun one.
Yeah, it was awesome. I like the real world, like, hey, I just bought this software, and oh, by the way, let's look at the sales page. I'm counting.
I bought it on my phone. Like I didn't even like look at the hearts and the social proof. I was like, this looks cool. I'm going to buy it. There's a lifetime deal. And like, it's funny.
18.
But
I counted to 18. Just for future reference, everybody watching, 18 was the delay, probably about 15 seconds on BeLive, which is significant.
Yeah.
Awesome. So talk to me about, I know we have this talk every week. Talk to me about the new course. How far out are we from being able to?
So September 4th, we are launching a 7-day free challenge. It is called the Never Ending 5-Star Review Challenge. And so together, we are going to show you how to say goodbye to skyrocketing ad costs, which is unfortunately the reality for a lot of us, and unpredictable referrals. So if you love the concept of referrals because they understand what you do, they're like your past clients, they usually value, the whatever it is you sell, but you're also like they're unpredictable. You don't have control. And so we are going to, using reviews, but very strategic reviews, as we've just talked about, we're going to show you how to become the obvious choice in your industry. This only works. So here's the caveat, as Nick had said earlier. You have to deliver your client results. You have to deliver them a great experience. Those are the two things that the prerequisites. If you don't have one of those two things, we can't help you. But if you do have both of those things, then it's very easy to separate yourself from the pack, to not be compared to other competitors, to have the transformations that you help your clients achieve be seen. And so no longer just be one-to-one, right? The concept of a referral, but be one-to-many. And so this will be a free challenge. It's the only time this will ever be free because we're actually going to help. This isn't like some crappy challenge that you sign up for and don't do. This is a challenge where literally by the end of it, you will be able to generate nonstop 5-star reviews. And so we'll post the link in this group. It'll only be shared in this group. And as I said, it'll be starting September 4th and running to September 10th.
Awesome. I will we'll make sure everybody gets that link. Probably end of the month.
No, we're gonna get it out in the next couple of days because we want people signed up and ready to go. We're gonna have a specific challenge group. So basically, when you sign up, you'll be invited to a challenge group. Only people who are in the challenge will be there. And leading up into the challenge, we're gonna help just make sure that your profile is set up. So if you're saying, Google is the ideal place for reviews, we're gonna get that set up. If you're saying Houzz is the best place for reviews, we're gonna help you get that set up. If it's whatever it is, Facebook, we're going to help make sure that like your profile is set up for reviews, because there's some things you got to turn on and some switches and dials. And so that way, when you start the challenge, you are literally starting on day one with your system kind of ready to go.
Awesome. Cool. Appreciate it. We'll, anything you need from Justin, just drop a comment here, shoot him a message. They are service providers at heart. They always respond. And they're always helpful. So I appreciate that, man. We had a last minute, we had to play with the tech to get all this sorted out, but we made it happen. And I'll be harassing you probably in the next couple of days about really dialing in, getting somebody on my team to move forward with capturing all the stories and getting them placed now that we're getting our flows built out.
Yes. And we would love to share some of that process. So as you're doing it, like maybe we can talk about it and maybe next week, Social Proof Wednesday next week.
Yeah. If you guys are cool with that, if you're watching, if you would like to see us do it in real time, it's kind of a forcing function for me to get it done. And it's real time examples of exactly what we are doing. Because frankly, for me, that is the best. That is how I choose to market and sell and provide service, is figure things out and share it with other people.
Yeah, that's great.
And then share, the big thing is I have a pool of experts and I say, hey, these are the people that actually help me. So let's do that. Let's get set up so that we can take some action steps between now and Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, we'll kind of share what we've done and what we're doing.
Love it.
Awesome.
Cool. Love to see thanks, Jody, Cindy, Daryl, Deandra for tuning in and participating. This is awesome.
Yep. Everybody that catches the replay, just drop comments, tag Justin, tag me, and we'll do next week. We'll start sharing real time, 10 a.m. We're 11 a.m. Pacific every Wednesday. Cool.